live from the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show as we move into the penultimate fixtures for 4 clubs and then the ultimate fixtures on Sunday as the season concludes. So a little bit of an explanation as to why we had no content last couple of weeks. I had the good fortune to be away on a cruise ship, and even though there was Wi-Fi, it was only really good for getting stuff in. It wasn't any good for uploading or broadcasting. So unfortunately, couldn't do anything for the last couple of weeks, but we're back in time for where maybe the key changes are going to be made today, as teams have 2 fixtures over some that only have 1. So we're going to have a look at some questions we had from FF Matty and Dave Hannigan regarding next season. And we're going to have a look at the match centres for the games that have been played so far this week. Then we'll get some team news for what's going to happen in the 2 games tonight. Have a look at my plans. Not much to do in the main game, but in the beta tester, I've got a few moves to make. So we'll have a look and see what they're going to do. Then I'll have a look at some leagues from the main game and the beta testing game. Have a look at the remaining fixtures. And then we'll let everybody get up and watch Bournemouth hopefully get the better of Manchester City. So let's have a look for phase 2 next year. So Matty and Dave both asked similar questions. Is the game going to be changing? Are we going to be carrying on? Is there going to be different things? So I thought we'd have a quick chat about some changes. Most important one of which is the game's going to have its own game engine. It's going to be on its own website. It's been tested currently from sort of April and May fixtures with double figures and more of people testing it. So you won't have to worry about being on TFF. And then us converting the points into cloud points for everybody. It's all going to be on its own website, and everybody will be good to go. Get your own login, set your own team. There's going to be a few changes to what we've done this year because we were sort of game engine dependent. So here are half a dozen things that are going to change, and then there's a couple that are going to stay the same. So the formations allowed are going to revert to what was previously allowed in Sky FF. So no 5-4-1, which is allowed in Telegraph but wasn't in Sky. So you'll be able to play 3-4-3, 3-5-2, 4-5-1, 4-4-2, 4-3-3. Captaincy is back. You won't be getting an automated top point scorer. You're going to have to pick your captain. Again, usual rules, 1 per fixture day, and you'll be able to set these in advance. We've been doing that in the beta testing and it's been working. Transfer allowance, quantity to be confirmed. I'm going to guess it's going to be 40 or 50, but we'll work that out nearer the time. But a change here is going to be no maximum per game week. So previously in the Sky game, you were only allowed to have 5 between each game week, but now you'll be able to use whatever you like. Game weeks will revert to Friday to Thursday, unlike the Tuesday to Monday that we've had with the TFF engine. The return of the overhaul. So yeah, overhaul is going to be back. The only thing we need to work out is when it's going to be. So we'll work that out sort of in the off season, but yeah, overhaul will be back. And for those that wanted to know, teams can either be set to public or private. I know that when we set TFF up, everybody had to have a public team because that's the only way we could get the data into cloud to get everybody scoring. Some people said that they preferred a public team because they played in leagues that insisted everybody had an open team, and then there's others that want to have a private team for the very good reason they don't want everybody to see what they've got. So they're the things that are going to be changing. And then the things that are going to be staying is the point scoring is going to be the same as what we've had this year. So all of those 1, 2 and 3 tier points are going to be the same. We'll have a look at the minute on the match centres so we can refresh. And you'll be able to join your own leagues, set them up, join others. So yeah, all looking good. Beta testing's gone well. We're in a good position. We'll make some sort of more work over the summer, and I assume that we're going to be back live sort of mid-July-ish. That seems to be when the games sort of tend to get started. We were late last year because we were sort of given a bolt from the blue from Sky at the start of July. So I imagine it'll be second week of July-ish that we sort of get round to finalising what we want to do. Whether it's good to go for everybody straight away then, but I'm fairly sure it won't be too long after. Season starts mid-August, so we'll be good to go by then. So thanks to everybody that's done a beta testing. I'll see some people's, probably some familiar names at the top of the list sort of coming up fairly soon. And yeah, all good to go. So thanks Matty, thanks Dave for your questions, and yeah, we're in a good place, and I'm hopeful that the game's going to be bigger and better next year, and there's no reason to say that it won't be. Mike Warlow, also known as FF Stuff, behind the scenes, been doing fantastic jobs, got a real good thing going, and I'm fairly sure that everybody will look forward to playing. So let's have a look at the match centres for the games played so far. So on Friday night, we had Aston Villa 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Goal scorers were Konza and Kamara for Villa. Tier points, tackles tier 2 for Onana. Passes tier 1 for Maatsen, tier 3 for Torres and Konza. Shots tier 1 for Kamara, Asensio. Rodgers, tier 2 for Konsa and Watkins. So Konsa ended up with a 19-pointer there. And for Tottenham, tier 3 saves for Kinski and 1 shot on target for Odebear. They really don't care about that game, do they? With sort of the Champions League playoff against somebody we're going to talk about next. To come in Bilbao tomorrow. So without further ado, Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0. Goal scorer was Cucurella. Tier points for Chelsea. Cucurella with a tackles tier 1, same as Adrabayo, Caicedo and Palmer. Shots, Cucurella, Palmer and Neto tier 1. For Manchester United, the other team that are playing in Bilbao tomorrow. Tackles, tier 1 for Casemiro, Mazraoui and Mount. Tier 3 for Dorgo. Passes, tier 2 for Lindelof. And shots, tier 1 for Diallo. And that was it. Then on to Sunday, last game at Goodison Park for Everton. Everton 2, Southampton 0. Both goals for Ndai. Tier points, tackles, Mikolenko and Gehi, both with tier 3. Passes, Gehi and Garner, tier 1. Shots, Garner tier 1, Decore tier 1 and Beto tier 1, and Ndai tier 2. For Southampton, Wellington, tier 2 tackles, Harwood Bellis tier 1 passes, Stevens tier 2, and then 2 shots tiers, tier 1 apiece for Archer and Stewart off the bench. West Ham United 1, Nottingham Forest 2. Goal scorers were Gibbs White and Milinkovic for Forest. Bowen with a crackerjack goal, 86th minute. Tier points, West Ham, Kufal with the tier 1 tackles, Todibo tier 1 passes, Areola with the tier 1 saves, Kufal, Soucek, Bowen, Fulkrug and Soler with the tier 1 shots. For Forest, Milenkovic, tier 2 passes, tier 2 tackles, tier 3 tackles for Williams, Anderson and Dominguez. Nobody in the passes. Sells tier 2 saves. Shots tier 1 Milenkovic, Elanga and Wood. Tier 2 for Gibbs White. And Brentford 2, Fulham 3. Goal scorers for Brentford were Mbuemo and Wissa. For Fulham, Jimenez, Kearney and Wilson. Tier points for Brentford, tackles. Tier 1 for Yarmoliuk, nobody in the passes. Fleckham with tier 2 saves. Norgard, Mbuemo and Wissa all with tier 2 shots. For Fulham, Robinson, tier 3 tackles. Nobody with the passes. Leno with the saves and a penalty save. Shots, tier 1 for Smith Rowe, Traore and Wilson. Tier 2 for Jimenez and Kearney. Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0. Goal scorers Declan Rice. Tier points for Arsenal, Partey, tier 1 tackles. Kivior and Saka, tier 2. Nobody with the passes. Raya with a tier 3 saves. Partey, Saka, tier 1 shots. And the aforementioned Rice with tier 2. For Newcastle, Burn, tier 1 tackles. Murphy, tier 2. Guimaraes, tier 3. Nobody again with the passes. Pope with tier 1 saves. And then shots, all tier 1. Burn, Share, Livramento, Guimaraes and Barnes. And then Brighton 3, Liverpool 2 from Monday Night Football. A return from the beach, Liverpool, to the beach in Brighton. Goal scorers Brighton, Ari, Matoma and Hinchelwood. And for Liverpool, Elliott and Szoboszlai, with very much a cross that went into the back of the net. Tier points, tackles for Brighton, Van Heck tier 1, as well as Baliba and Gomez. Tier 3 for Estupinan and Weaver. Passes, just Webster, tier 2. Verbruggen tier 1 saves. Shots, Ayari, Adringra, Hinchelwood, all tier 1. Estupinan, Garuda and Mitoma tier 2 and Welbeck tier 3. For Liverpool, Szoboszlai tier 2 tackles, Quansah and Gravenberch tier 1 passes, Allison with 9 saves for a tier 3, Szoboszlai 1 shot for a tier 1 and Elliott and Salah 2 shots apiece for tier 2. So I'm going to quickly tab across here to my team. So for those that were with me 2 weeks ago when I did the last show, the plan was to move Robinson onto Gvardiol on the Friday night when City were playing Wolves at home. And for whatever reason, it got to 8 o'clock and I hadn't made the change, so it was too late. So then I ended up 2 Sundays ago bringing in Bruno Fernandes and Virgil van Dijk to use the last 2 transfers, and I think I've scored about 6 points between the pair in 4 games since. So weekly points so far 50. Sells in goal, Saliba, Munoz, who might be playing, we'll have a look in a minute. Van Dijk didn't play, so that's a 0. Palmer, who was captain on Friday, for a grand total of 6. Kluivert, who might play today. Murphy, who played and went off on Sunday. Bowen, redeeming feature, at least was captain on Sunday, 18-pointer. Bruno Fernandes, just 1 point. Mo Salah, he obviously came in as captain yesterday, 2 shots on target for a total of 8. And then Mbuemo, who scored and missed a penalty, so only got 7 all in all. So not too great with that. So let's have a look at, put this back on a minute. I'm going going to have a quick look at my phone, see if I've got some team news in for the games. Let's have a look. So the City lineup is Ederson, Nunes, Akanji, Diaz, Gvardiol, Kovacic, Gundogan, De Bruyne captain, Bernardo Silva, Marmoush and Haaland. So that's pretty strong. I've got Wolves here who visit Crystal Palace. They've got Bentley in goal, Gomez, Giga, Agbadou, Totti as captain, Aït-Nouri, Andre, Bellegarde, Sarabia, Guedes and Strand Larsen. So I'm guessing that's Cunha on the bench. For Palace, so they have Henderson in goal. I hope he's sobered up. Munoz, Ward, Lacroix, Richards and Chilwell. Lerma, Hughes and Sarr. Essa and Nketiah. So Eze is on the bench. And that just leaves Bournemouth. And they've got Kepa in goal. Hewson, Kirkes, Cook. Evan Nielsen, Adams, Tavernier, Kluivert, Arajubo, Semenyo and Zabani. Wish they'd put them in a formation order, not number order. So let's have a look and see what that does to my plans. So the original plan on my screen was to bring in Kirkes for Saliba, Kluivert for McNeil and Haaland for Gakpo. And that leaves me 2 transfers spare to use. I don't have Eze in this team. So it's a case of, do I want to keep 2 for Sunday, or do I want to try and use another one today somewhere? Who would we possibly use additional today? The only one likely that could make way is Murphy, and then that could leave me room to bring in Isak if he's starting on Sunday, maybe. I'm definitely going to do those 3, then I'll have a think about the others. So let's go back to have a look at some leagues. I would suggest for anybody that's got transfers left in the main game, looking at that City side, they'd need 2 wins probably. I'd be looking to bring in maybe a lesser owned player, someone like a Haaland if you can afford it. They'll probably get passing bonus, you would think. Gvardiol is quite highly owned. De Bruyne is lowly owned. Maybe Marmoush. Diaz is quite lowly owned, likely to get passes, you would think. Gvardiol's back on the left-hand side by the looks of it. I think it's Nunes on the right, Akanji and Diaz in the middle, and Gvardiol at left back. So, yeah, I'd be tempted, probably all in on City, even though they're flattered to deceive. It's a good team. They were outdone by a good team in the cup final on Saturday. So, yeah, that would be my plan. And as you can see from my previous one, I'm going to bring in 2 Bournemouth because they're good for Sunday. Haaland's definitely going to come in. I think I'll give him the armband. It's just a case of whether I want to move somebody else on. I'll have a think. So let's have a look at some leaderboards. So this is the overall leaderboard, and we have a new name at the top. Julian Wardle, Holly's Heroes, sitting atop there, 3,461 points. He has a 15-point lead with 12 games to play. Well done, Julian. Mark Berry, Noons on the Run, is in second with 3,446. Jez Page is third, 3 points behind with 3,443. Neil Fleeson in fourth, 2 points behind Jez with 3-4-4-1. 8 points back is Shane White with Wexico United. He's been at the top all season long, really. Adrian Gage, Ruby's Warriors, he's come up later on, 3-4-3-0. Mark McFadden, who was top 3 weeks ago, maybe. I think he's had a few stabs that have gone wrong by the looks of it. McFlurry arose 3-4-1-9. Mark Williamson's been in up the top fairly consistently with D'Artagnan 3-4-0-9. Elliot Mann is in 9th 3-4-0-5, and Colin McLennan is in 10th 3-3-9-5. So it looks maybe a 4-way fight at the top with Julian having a decent lead. Well done, sir. We'll see how that pans out from tonight and Sunday. So the Fantasy Football Hub Members Prize League. So Julian's at the top there again. Mark Berry and Mark Williamson. Other names in the ranks here. Barry Morrison in 4th. Dean Hicks in 5th. Kelvin Guest in 6th. Mark Hawes in 7th. Dominic Moran in 8th. Albert Welch in 9th. And Dale Pointer, who I'm doing battle with in the Ultimate Manager as well, in 10th. Well done, everybody there. The Tim Barry Cash League. Julian's sitting at the top of that as well, with Mark, Jez, Shane, Mark, Tony Stolberg there, 3-3-9-2. Dean Hicks, Mark Hawes, Titus Shambles, very clever, 3-3-6-4, and then Dominic Moran in 10th. And if we have a quick look at the Phase 2 beta testing leaderboard. So top of that at the minute with Vinny's Victors is Leon Wolf. Sitting Craig is Craig Kemp from the Man on FPL podcast. Well done, Craig. He's zippy as an arsehole with 8-8-9, so 10 behind. John Logan with his 3 a.m. at the border of the marsh from the Okefenokee, 850. So it looks like a 2-way tussle there for the Phase 2 beta testing. Dale Pointer is in 4th. Yours truly in 5th. Melvin Poole in 6th. Edith Blackburn is in 7th. Peter Clinch is in 8th. Michael Blackburn is in 9th. And Stephen Grieve is in 10th. Well done, everybody there. The Phase 2 Cloudy Sky FF Show League. So those that are part of the show. So Craig is top there, 8-8-9. Well done, Craig. Looks like you're well ahead there, nearly a 40-point lead. John Logan, 2nd. Yours truly 3rd. Michael in 4th. Stephen in 5th. Then Nathan with his Thanks to the Game team in 6th. Dave Hannigan, 7th. Tim Barry in 8th. Alan Oldroyd in 9th. Laurie Wemyss in 10th. And good old Mike Warlow in 11th. Mike's the guy that's done a lot of work behind the scenes to get the thing together. So thanks to everybody in the show league for helping and testing and feeding back. And then we have the Patrons League, which I have the good fortune to be top of. Peter Clinch is in 2nd. Tim Barry 3rd. Aaron Oldroyd 4th. David Baxter is in 5th. I think he finished 5th overall in Sky 2 or 3 years back, David. And Elliot England in 6th. So let's have a look at the remaining fixtures. So tonight we have Crystal Palace against Wolves and Manchester City against Bournemouth. Looking at the sides that have been put out, I mean, Palace might have been on the beer for a while, but that looks a fairly strong side. Crowd get behind them. Wolves missing Cunha. Not really too much to play for either side. I'm going to go for a high-scoring draw. I think it might be a 2-2. Manchester City against Bournemouth, I think will be a lot tighter. Bournemouth are a good side, but Manchester City got it all to play for. Bournemouth, I think if they can get a win, they can still just about get into 8th place, which can qualify for Europe if I think it's Chelsea finish 7th and win the Conference League, or Chelsea finish 6th, Newcastle finish 7th and Chelsea win the Conference League. So it seems unlikely to me, but could happen. But I think City will win. I think it'll be tight. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. Now, I wouldn't rule out a late winner for City, similar to when they beat Aston Villa in what was a key game. Was that 3 or 4 midweeks ago now? So similar could happen. And then the season all wraps up on Sunday. Bournemouth at home to Leicester. Leicester, no Jamie Vardy, scored his 200th goal in his 500th appearance and said goodbye to, well, I used to know it's Filbert Street, but the Walkers Stadium, is it? I can't remember now. So he won't be playing. I expect Bournemouth to be too good. Could be high scoring that. I'm going to go for Bournemouth to win 3-0 and a clean sheet. So anybody that's got Bournemouth assets they're bringing in today could go well. Fulham against Manchester City. Fulham did well to beat Brentford last weekend, but the previous week lost to Everton. Nothing really to play for now. Manchester City will have. Again, I think if Manchester City need a win, they'll get one, and I think it'll be 2-0. Ipswich against West Ham. This could be quite fun. Ipswich's last home game. Will they be back after next year? Don't know. They've got a reasonable clutch of players, but they haven't really cut that much mustard in the Premier League. I think this could be a good high scoring game as well. I'll go for West Ham to win. High scoring 3-2 away. Liverpool against Crystal Palace, Battle of the Drunks. Again, this could be another high scoring game. I'm going to go the other way around. Liverpool to win, and they'll win 3-2. And I'm fairly sure that Mo Salah will get his record equaling goal involvement to tie. Is it Shearer and Henry? Memory serves. Manchester United against Aston Villa. A lot will depend on what Manchester United do tomorrow as to how that's going to pan out. If they lose, I can imagine that being a little bit aggressive maybe towards Zamarin and the board and everything else. If they win, obviously they're back in the Champions League. They'll have won a big trophy and it'll be party time. Aston Villa probably need a win, but it might not be enough. They need help from either Forest or Fulham or Everton. I think they'll probably win, but it might be closer than you think. I'm going to go for a 2-1 to Aston Villa. Newcastle against Everton. Newcastle know that if they get 3 points, they will qualify for the Champions League. This could be the one that really gets going. Everton, they'll have been happy after Sunday. Nothing really for them to do this week. Newcastle, if they score early, they could get 3 or 4. I'm going to go for a 4-0 home win. Now, Southampton against Arsenal. A lot of other format content this week is about how Arsenal assets are going to romp home against Southampton. I'm not quite seeing it the same. I think it could happen. They could win 3 or 4, 5-0 away. I'm not even convinced that all of the big players are going to play. They had their send-off. They won. They got their second place at home to Newcastle. What's the benefit of them sending a first team out on Sunday? I could be wrong. I'm sure that, I mean, for this game, it doesn't matter. You'll see the team. I'm thinking more for like the likes of Dream Team and FPL in the aforementioned Ultimate League. There might be a leak on the lineup. I'm going to go for, I think it might be closer than people think. Wouldn't surprise me if it's a draw. There, I'll stick my neck out. 2-2 draw. Spurs against Brighton. Now Brighton, depending on what happens, well, they won't know, will they? They're going to have to try and get 8th place. Spurs, they'll either be really happy or really depressed, same as Manchester United. I think Brighton can probably go and win anyway. Wouldn't surprise me to see goals in this one as well. I'm going to go for a third 3-2, this time away from home. And Wolves against Brentford, the last alphabetically. It's not going to mean too much, really. I think Wolves will like to go off with a bang at home, I guess. Brentford, high scoring again. I mean, the fixtures are laid out here really for another high scoring week, and it does tend to happen that way in the final week of the season anyway. I'll say Wolves to win 2-1 at home. So that ends the preview for the final game week of the season. From a personal point of view, I'd like to thank everybody that's been involved throughout, either the helping, the promoting, the feeding back, being part of the show, asking questions, for all of their help and assistance over the season. Mike, especially for all his efforts in making sure that we've got a game that works properly. I'll be back the early part of next week with some updates on how the final week panned out, who's won the leagues. I'll try and do something a bit later in the week as well with some sort of feedback on how the player points and values and everything has worked out, a sort of a team of the season, a value team of the season. For those that are on Patreon, we'll carry on through the summer, but there'll be no charge for anybody in June. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I'll find out behind the scenes to make sure that I can get that refunded. We'll carry on working behind the scenes to get the game going, and then we'll be back with some content and a game and some previews in July. So, if you like what you see, please give the video a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please do. If you want to go over to Patreon, you'll find us at patreon.com/Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show. So enjoy the games tonight. If you're going to a meetup for the final games on Sunday. And as I say, we're back with a couple of shows next week, maybe something the week after as well. And then we can all go off and have a summer and get ready for phase 2 of Cloud FF. Thanks everybody. Cheers for watching. Goodbye.